This is the all-new Penn Fathom Electric reel, and today we're gonna unbox it.
What's up, kooks? Welcome back to the channel. I got real lucky, guys. I signed up for one of BD Outdoors' giveaways on their Instagram page, and I actually won. It's crazy. I never win this kind of stuff, so super stoked, especially about this particular product. This is the new Penn Fathom Electric reel. So today we're gonna unbox this thing. I wanna give you guys my first impressions of this product, see what's inside the box before we get it out on the water and get it tested out. This is the kit. So be careful, if you purchase this online, there's two versions. There's one that comes only with the reel, no battery, no charger. You wanna get the kit. It's gonna set you up with everything you need right from the get-go. You got the reel, you got the charger, you got a battery, and you got the mounting hardware and all that type of stuff. So again, let's check it out. We'll see what it looks like, but just beware of that online. If you go to order, you're gonna want the kit because otherwise you're gonna have to buy it separate anyways. A couple stats on this particular reel. This is the 50 size. So it's got a gear ratio of 1.9 to 1, braid capacity for up to 1,300 yards of 50-pound. I'm sure a lot of the guys around here are gonna run 65 pounds, so you're probably gonna go a little bit less than that. And this thing weighs 71 ounces. All right, here we go. Let's open this thing up. This box is solid. First thing we got is a couple Penn Let the Battle Begin, baby. Can't wait. Looks like you got some warranty information. Quick start guide. Definitely want to read through that to understand how to set it up the first time through, because electric reels, they can be a little tricky if you don't know how to set them up the first time. All right, what do we got in the box? First thing, wow. There you go. There it is. Right there. Boom. Beautiful. This thing is solid, guys. It feels really heavy. It's a lot heavier than I was expecting. I think it's probably a good thing. Nice clicker on the drag. We got spool tensioner on this side. This is gonna allow you to drop quickly without getting any backlashes or anything like that. Really, really solid. Like this thing, I'm really impressed by how solid it is. Drag on this side, nice clicks. So this is actually where you engage the manual mode. If you didn't want to use the battery for whatever reason, you're getting close to the top, or maybe you lose battery power, you can still reel the fish in right here by just clicking in this button and engaging this manually. Unclick it so that it's free. We're gonna set this guy aside, get into the rest of the box here though. All right, what else? We got the charger, single charger. I think they offer a multiple charger online. We got the battery. There you go, guys, there's the battery right there. 10.8 volt, 5 amp, 54 watt battery. So far, I've watched some reviews. Seems like the battery life is really good on these things. I probably will end up picking up a second one, but until we get it out there on the water and try it out, obviously I will not know. Charger cord, secondary charger cord. Okay. All right, guys, so this is pretty funny. They actually have 3 charging cords in the box, completely different. Apparently they expect you to be a world traveler with this thing. They've got power cords for 3 different types of outlets here. Gosh, I don't even know what these would be. You guys are gonna have to tell me, but here's the good old American version right there. These guys, I guess if I'm traveling overseas, hopefully I'll remember to know that I've got a charger that I can use for them. What is this little guy? Okay. Okay. These guys are, this is actually kind of interesting. That's kind of cool. These guys are extra O-rings for the battery, it looks like, that you can use to replace if these degrade. That's pretty cool actually, because if these break off, that's gonna break your seal. You definitely don't want that to happen, especially in saltwater, right? So kind of cool that they came with these, because they do look a little thin, so hopefully they hold up. Last thing in the box here is we've got our tool kit. This is just your typical mounting hardware. Penn always gives you a nice little tool for some of their bigger reels. Safety clamp. And then this guy right here, which is actually probably really useful, is the line threader. So getting your line through the eyelet there, I don't know if you can see that. They give you something to help out with that. It's a little tricky sometimes. All right, I'm gonna set this aside. Let's focus on this guy right here. Got a nice little sticker on there, says remove before use. Let's go ahead and pull that guy off. And let's get a battery in here. All right guys, this is kind of cool. They give you a little checklist here to go through when setting up the reel for the first time. There you go. Take a screenshot of that. Have a little video for instructions here. I've already watched this actually. It's great. Let's get the battery put in and fire this thing up here. All right, so far, we'll say it's not the easiest to line the battery up. All right guys, so that was a little bit tricky. It kind of feels like you gotta, that first edge, gotta just kind of jiggle it in just a hair, get it lined up, and then you see that pop in, then it pushes in easy. Next thing is firing this thing up. That is where you push those two buttons together at the same time, and it should fire up for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. There it is, right there. Battery did fire up. It's a little low. Hopefully we'll get a little bit of time out of it, but that right there is your indicator. You got a line counter over here. You got a spool RPM speed, which is kind of cool. And then you've got an electronic clicker on here that is not turned on. Let's see if we can get that turned on actually. Looks like you turned it on right there. Yeah, so that's your electronic clicker. That's gonna make some noise now. You guys are probably really familiar if you've used any Fathom or any Penn lever drag reel. You pretty much know the drill. You got your free spool all the way up to strike, and then it does actually go to full. This thing has 40 pounds of drag. Plenty of drag. Right here, guys, that's your speed adjuster for the reel. So let's just pretend like we're gonna use it. We've dropped something, okay? I'm gonna just run my thumb up it. You see it starts to count how much line has gone out there. You're gonna put it in gear, and let's start to use this guy. All you do is twist this knob. It goes from off to max. It goes from off to 5, and then it goes to max. All right, so if we just turn it on, it's gonna start spooling. And there's max right there, guys. And when it gets to the top, it's gonna slow down and shut off entirely. You see that? So the last couple feet, it's gonna slow down so you can get your fish in without pulling your swivel or anything through the tip of the rod. And then it stops when it reaches 0 automatically. Pretty cool setup. And again, this is your tension knob. So when you're letting these things down, you're gonna want some tension on the line, obviously, so that you're not gonna backlash, and you can basically just set it and forget it. All right, guys, let's see what happens if you actually have this engaged right here. Apparently there's supposed to be, you obviously don't wanna have to do this, but I think this has got a safety auto stop. So if it's swinging around, it's not gonna cause any harm to you. It should theoretically stop. So let's give that a shot here. And there you go, right there, right? Swinging along, hits you. That's pretty cool actually, because this thing, if you got it at full speed, it's gonna give you a nice little knuckle buster there. So fact that you can do that is cool if you forget to leave it disengaged, but obviously you want it to be disengaged if you're running the electric part. Next thing I wanna do is run you guys through the menu real quick. In order to hit the menu, you're gonna have to hold this button on the right down for 3 seconds. All right, and there you go. There's the menu. Holding down that button for 3 seconds gets you to the menu. Then this button can be used to actually select and cycle through your menu items. See that? This left one is gonna allow you to select it. So let's start with the rod tip alarm first. This is basically just gonna give you notification that you're getting close to the rod tip with the line counter, and definitely want to keep that one on so you don't end up reeling up your swivel or something. Next setting here, we've got the rod tip alarm distance. So this goes from 10 feet to 50 feet. So you guys saw how the reel started to slow down as the line counter went down to 0. This basically gives you that setting. So how far do you want that to start to slow down? It can go all the way up to 50 feet. For me, I like 20. I think that's a good number, so I'm gonna just keep that. Screen text color. So this is pretty cool. You got an option here of actually going into black versus white. I think that's probably most useful if you're doing some night fishing, helps keep the strain on the eyes down, and you know, a little bit easier to see at night. So cool feature. I'm gonna leave that back on to white versus black for now. And then line diameter. So this, guys, is definitely the most important setting in this menu. You need to make sure whatever size line you put on this reel, it's got to match one of these diameters. The reason for that is the spool is not going to know how much line is coming in or out of this reel unless you have matched it with one of these options. So just know that when you put line on, you need to make sure it's going to match one of these. So I don't have any line on here, so I'm just going to skip this one for now. Units is pretty straightforward. It's just basically feet or meters. We're going to do feet. And then hibernate. So this basically is a battery saver setting. I would always leave this on. It's going to hibernate. The screen's going to turn off after 15 minutes of use, and that's obviously going to help you guys save some battery. So once you've gone through all the menu items, if you want to get back to the main screen, you're just going to hold that down for another 3 seconds, and it's going to take you right back to home. Overall first impression, this thing is built really solid, guys. Like, honestly, super blown away by how heavy and how well built it feels. I think a few people probably use this for the kite, you know, deep drop in California. What's cool about this, guys, obviously the biggest deal with this is having a battery, right? You're not having to plug into your boat. You can move it around and not have to worry about, you know, getting stuff tangled up, not carrying a big battery with you. I am curious to see how long the battery life lasts, but again, like I said, I'll probably get a spare battery just in case. And realistically, you know, are you gonna burn through it in a day? Who knows? I am super excited to get out on the water. Gonna have to pick up a rod. If you guys have a rod suggestion, let me know. I'll probably be looking at some sort of bent butt so that it's easy to put in the rod holder, especially the bent butt rods. I'm relatively new to them, so if you guys have suggestions, throw me a comment below. Let me know what you think. That's gonna do it for today's video, guys. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. If you've picked one up, if you've fished it already, give me a comment about what your thoughts are on it. But I am excited to get out on the water. Be on the lookout for another video where I'm hopefully using this thing very soon. Thank you again to BD Outdoors and Penn Fishing for sending me this. Super stoked to get it out there. We'll see you guys next time.